You know, I still wake up some nights thinking I hear those boots. That heavy, steady rhythm, not stomping, not running, just this unapologetic thudding that tells you someone's walking into your house already knowing they're not leaving without a fight. And they were coming because of a single potted plant, a little bit of moonlight sage by the mailbox. But what they didn't know was that my wife, Ilara, the quiet mom who loved iced tea, was a highly decorated Special Forces sniper. And they had just effectively declared war on her retirement. My name is Jonah, and we moved to the perfectly manicured suburb of Whisper Creek for peace, for stability after years of my own time in the reserves and years of Ilara's overseas. We wanted low-stakes, coffee on the porch, and neighbors who just waved. Our son Leo was content as long as the Wi-Fi hit his room. That little sage plant was Ilara's marker, her way of saying, "We're home now." A week later, the first letter arrived, slipped under the door with surgical precision. No stamp, just a stark notice of non-compliance for unauthorized ornamental flora. I laughed, thinking it was a joke. Ilara didn't. She taped it to the fridge and told me, dead serious, "They're probing, Jonah. They're checking the boundaries." She knew what she was talking about. Then came Beverly, the HOA president, all beige polo, clipboard, and a permanent sour expression. She materialized one morning and raised her hand like a traffic cop when I tried to speak. The sage creates visual inconsistency and attracts unapproved pollinators. The board has already spoken. Ilara gave her this slow, predatory smile. "Well, Beverly," she drawled, stepping closer, "you tell the board that my definition of inconsistent doesn't include something that smells nice. And if they want a meeting, they can send someone who isn't wearing the standard issue delusion of grandeur." Beverly flushed, turning and marching off like she'd just sentenced us to exile. The letters kept coming, photos, fines, and finally, the bright red sticker, "Final Review." That night, Ilara pulled out the black heavy rifle case from the basement. She didn't open it, she just looked at it. I stood there, realizing I had been too busy believing this wasn't real to protect my family. But Ilara, she was always ready. The drills started immediately. Leo was miserable, forced to crawl through the backyard with a pool noodle, doing sweeps and perimeter checks. "This isn't normal, Mom," he yelled once, frustrated and muddy. Ilara didn't even look at him, just pointed. "Neither is surveillance, Leo. This is about being ready for what's not normal." It broke my heart to see her pull him into that old world. But she knew what was coming better than I did. And then they arrived. The sudden, unnatural quiet, the streetlights flickering out, and then those boots, 3 pairs, heavy and confident, walking right into our front yard. Ilara crouched, peering out. "They're not professionals, Jonah. Uniforms too clean, movements too rigid. They're trying to look intimidating without authority." But one guy, the breacher, was scanning the door for kickback clearance. They were ready to come in hard. I tried to stop her as she moved toward her gear. "Ilara, call the police." She looked at me, her eyes locked into that cold, operational calm. "If you're going to try and stop me, Jonah, pick a better moment than the one where they're about to breach your son's home." I stepped aside. I was behind her again. The lead enforcer, all broad chest and blank face, stated flatly, "You are in active violation. We're here to initiate final compliance procedures." Ilara stepped past me, right into the middle of them. "Final procedures?" she asked, head cocked. "That's a lot of drama for a guy wearing a fake patch and knockoff Oakleys." She saw their plan. They were trying to box her in. Then she vanished. One quick step back into the hedges. The sprinklers exploded, but instead of water, a blinding white cloud of chalk powder erupted. Ilara had retrofitted the system. The men staggered, choking. I watched as she dropped from a tree limb, hitting one man, tasing another, and zip-tying him with one clean, terrifying motion. Leo whispered, "Mom." She didn't waste a second. She walked up to the lead man, still sputtering in the chalk dust, and slowly pulled the clipboard from his arm. It wasn't a compliance checklist. It was an intelligence brief. Satellite photos, our routines, our schedules, and at the bottom, in thick black marker, Phase 3, Asset Recovery. We weren't being fined. We were being targeted. And Ilara knew this was only the reconnaissance team. We didn't sleep. Ilara went straight to the HOA server, uncovering Beverly's entire operation. The shell company, Sentinel Grove, set up to siphon dues and pay for tactical gear and hired muscle. She found the budget proposals, the expanded security oversight, and the chilling records of forced removals labeled as sterile things like RRE-09 and property secured by noon. She wasn't just a controlling HOA president. She was running an operation, gauging how much control she could seize before someone finally fought back. The next sign was the drone, a military-grade black wasp, hovering over our house while Beverly hosted a propaganda barbecue across the street. It was logging our behavior, testing our electronics. When a smaller drone zipped in for a closer look, Ilara grabbed Leo's garden rake. Her body snapped into motion, one clean swing, and the drone crumpled into the rose bushes. The main drone backed off. "They're calculating now," Ilara murmured. "They're watching to see who backs her up." The drills became harder, real obstacle courses in the yard, balancing beams over the koi pond. Leo finally broke, shouting, "You're acting like this is your war zone again, but it's my backyard." Ilara stopped, her voice low and steady. "I'm doing this, Leo, because I don't want the first time you fight to be the last. This isn't a normal life, not anymore." He finally got it. At 2:41 a.m., the sensor light turned red. No alarms, just the deep mechanical hum of a sound suppression. Vehicle and the flash of mobile floodlights. 5 figures, black vests, black visors. This was the raid. The doorbell rang once, a cold, perfect command. Ilara didn't answer. The chalk sprinklers fired. Then Ilara dropped from the roof, deploying a flashbang loaded with marbles. And finally, thick military-grade fog rolled out from a rigged garden gnome. Confusion reigned. I hit the back hose, blasting one guy with compressed air, and Leo, my quiet son, threw his training tennis ball, rigged with glitter and strobe lights, right under Beverly's mobile speaker. Boom! Beverly's broadcast cut out. Ilara fired a flare into the sky. 3 sharp whistles. Windows creaked open. Porch lights clicked on. Our neighbors saw the tactical squad face-planting in our flower beds. The fog, the glitter, the illusion broke. The enforcers retreated in shame, defeated by exposure. But Beverly wasn't done. By morning, she'd won the narrative, emailing the entire block that it was a scheduled emergency simulation. The neighbors started looking away. The Jenkins returned our casserole dish unwashed. She's gaslighting the entire block, I realized. The war wasn't for turf. It was for the story. So we turned the living room into a war room. Ilara, running 2 laptops, told us, narrative dominance equals psychological superiority. We take the truth back. We uploaded the raw footage, stabilized, scrubbed clean with Ilara's calm, factual narration. It went viral. When Beverly tried to respond, Ilara uploaded version 2. The HOA payment logs, the shell company documents, all laid bare. Beverly resigned temporarily. A special vote was called. We thought it was over. Then, on a quiet Tuesday, came a soft knock. I opened the door. It was Beverly. No blazer, just a light gray sweater and that unsettling, polite smile. "I just wanted to talk," she said. Ilara was already there, silent. "You shook the system," Beverly conceded. "You were efficient, strategic. That's what this place needs." She took a step closer. "I came to offer you a position." My breath hitched. "You want me to be your new enforcer?" Ilara asked, her voice flat. Beverly shrugged. "The structure matters more than the uniform, and if you say no..." She turned, walking down the path, tossing the final chilling line over her shoulder. "Power always finds its way home." Ilara locked the door. We didn't celebrate. We walked the yard, checked the sensors, and rewrote the playbook. Because I finally understood what Ilara had known all along. Power doesn't always storm the gates. Sometimes it shows up in flats with a soft voice and a handshake. The fight isn't over. It's just balanced now. If you were in Alara's place, would die. You have taken that deal to protect your family from the inside, or would you keep fighting from the outside? Let me know your thoughts on power and balance in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more stories from the front lines of suburban absurdity.